And it's critical that we fail fast and learn from each other. Each of us needs to drive the evolution of social media marketing. So, the theme of today's breakfast discussion is evolving social. By its very nature, with humans at the heart of it, social is constantly evolving. From the technology that quickly drives it forward to the humans who constantly take it in new directions.
Build a community that provides utility. So many of you work at companies that may have an existing community, and typically communities are started for customer support. Well, as marketers, it's time to lean in, right? Lean into those communities and try to determine what could you provide as marketers that is going to be useful to those community members. You could create a tool or something that makes their lives a little bit easier, and it could be based on your product itself or maybe an adjacent need that they may have. But if you have a community, there are tons of opportunities because your customers are already there. They're there, they're interacting. And you have an audience that you can get in front of to demonstrate that brand promise. If you don't have a community, then think about building one, right? There's many different ways of building a community. And if you could figure out what they need, whether it's a problem that you could solve or a mundane task that you can make easier, right? Think about building a community around that particular challenge. That's going to be another way to provide utility.
Be picky when picking platforms. So my team has many responsibilities, and we cover all the social platforms. And we have to think about everything we do. What's going to be the best platform for this goal, right? Because no platforms are alike in their interaction. So if we're just pushing out a message about news or a new product, or we want real-time response, we're probably going to go on Twitter and do that, right? There's a moment in time that people are there and they're wanting to participate. If we have something that's a little more creative and requires a little more video expertise, we like to use Vine because that community very much values creative aesthetic. If we want to do something that's a little quirky, Tumblr. If we want to reach a lot of people and we have some news that's mainstream or it's fun or it's about web culture, we're probably going to use Facebook. So, you know, we have all of these platforms at our disposal as marketers, infinite, and we're active on all of these. And so it can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you have a small team, to cover these platforms. I mean, it does feel like you're boiling the ocean, right? Except that the internet is bigger than the ocean. And so that's the world that we're marketing in. And so being particular on how you pick platforms is really important, and directing resources there and being native to those platforms. Building communities on these platforms, because you can push messages out all day long, but if you don't have a community to interact with, it's not going anywhere.
How do you pull that social understanding, that social enterprise mentality out of the marketing department and really bring that through the whole organization, not just for the marketer, but for the brand?
It's a point of view that starts from the top down. I mean, you have to go in with this umbrella strategy and this umbrella point of view about how it's going to come to market and how it's going to come to life, and it has to be a collaboration of the digital team, the traditional marketing team, media, PR, events, all the way through IT, because they're going to be supporting it and building the infrastructure in order to optimize everything that all these different groups are doing, but it really has to be a holistic point of view.
This is just as important as the media and the effort that we're putting into the billboards and the radio and the TV. A lot of times it feels like we have to get everybody like, yeah, no, this is important. This is going to be just as valuable. This is going to do very well as your traditional campaign. But if at the top, like she just said, you know, the CEOs, if they don't care, The Onion did a great video about this a few months ago about a CEO going like, we've got to go viral, and he started like ripping people's arms off, you know, and like attacking everybody because they weren't going viral enough. And but again, if that guy's in the room, or the guy in the corner office is just like, yeah, let's go, let's do something viral, you know. That's not the right attitude. That's not going to work. So, you know,
you need to be in agreement at the very top level of what needs to be executed in a period of time. Mm-hmm. And again, whether editorial's driving it or marketing's driving it, or a sales goal, you know, depending on the type of company you're at, you really need to just methodically execute. Because really, ideas are the easy part, and I don't mean to say that ideas are super easy, but execution becomes the challenge at most companies. You know, lots of people, I have a great idea. But how do you take the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to execute that idea and make it happen?
For creatives, the spirit-crushing spreadsheet. When Excel documents come in the inbox, there's a size, and some of these meetings, especially on the media end, there's a tendency phones come out, heads kind of go down, and people can disengage. And I actually think this is one of the more important areas for the whole team to be together. And I personally like to have this be a team exercise because this is where you can really have some fun in the social space, and not just in campaigns, but in sort of the brand approach overall, and targeting who you're going to be speaking to. And in some cases, it's going to be obvious. Like The Walking Dead, you've got 25 million fans on Facebook, so you know some things. But then you can get more interesting with it. One of the things in the case that we had a lot of fun with was targeting people based off of data we were capturing in the app. So geolocation, gender, start to peel off those different audiences, and then the creative that you can make towards them gets to be a lot of fun. I think the more the creatives and the team working on that content understands that, the more you can kind of go more niche with the audiences you're talking to.